This is 14 fun facts you might disagree with. Let's start with the least controversial facts first. Pi is everywhere because a circle can be turned into sinus or cosinus waves, which can be turned into 3D quantum wave fields. That might be not so useful, but there it is. A base 6 or base 12 system would be cleaner than the base 10 system we are currently using, because you can divide 6 or 12 with a higher percent of integers. The metric system is not just cleaner than imperial. After all, metric is base 10. The reason to adapt metric is most countries use it, and we already learned the English language for Americans, so hey, you can learn our units. Help or empathy or morals, I don't know the right word here, makes logical sense, since we all share the same soul. As example, we could knit brains together to make them combine into one consciousness, or cut one brain into 2 brain halves to get 2 consciousnesses. Logically, something cannot come out of nothing, so there has always been something and always will. Or logic is just wrong. There is actually a meaning of life, maximizing the amount of happy consciousness in the universe. This also means there's objective morality. What reduces long-term happiness, which can be measured via dopamine, etc. in the brain, is objectively bad. In chess, if the enemy king can only move towards checkmate, it's not a stalemate. It's an obvious loss for that king. Stalemate in this position was invented by a mad player who refused to lose and adapted by mindless sheeps. Logically, in real life, the king is done. He cannot win anymore. It's done. Black lost. The act of sex and the feeling of love are 2 entirely fundamentally different things. For example, you can love your pets and children. That doesn't mean you... Okay, let's move on. Sex is an act. Gender is male or female depending on XY or XX or XXY or XXX chromosomes. And identification is whatever you want to identify as. I identify as Tong Tong Sigma Ino Genio Silo. That being said, if you really put a lot of effort into looking like a woman as a man or vice versa, obviously I will respect that, and that should be respected, because after all, we cannot choose as which creature we are born as. So yeah, obviously if you really put effort into it, we should respect that. Paul Watzlawick said, "We cannot not communicate," which is basically the same as being left unseen, for example on WhatsApp. Discord does not have being left unseen, or emails, especially of famous people, now make it possible to actually not communicate, since you can never tell if your communication even reached the other side. 12 AM should be noon, and 12 PM should be midnight. USA got it mixed up. 0 PM is noon, and 0 AM is midnight. As soon as you switch from AM to PM, you also need to restart the number. You can't logically just stay at 12 and switch from AM to PM. 13 months with 4 weeks each is cleaner. Also, sept from September means 7, oct means 8, and so on. It got messed up by Julius Caesar, who added June and July. So, can we please go back and fix it? Languages should not be a school subject. Communication should. It's not about storytelling. It's about accurate and efficient information transfer. The shorter a text with more information, the less repeated, the objectively better it is. Sure, storytelling is fun and entertaining, but so is playing League of Legends. And I don't force people to learn League of Legends. When I was a kid in Germany, languages like French, German and English used to be main subjects. I hope this changed, because they're way more useful subjects. In fact, those languages aren't even useful at all, because I just explained that communication is about efficiency in serious moments. And different languages just keep up language barriers. So, physics, biology, sciences, engineering, chemistry, maths, those subjects should be main subjects, not languages. Because think about it, physics, engineering and all this stuff can lead to innovation, to longer lifespans, to less diseases, to cancer research and more. And languages, they exist because we did not have the internet back in the days. Now that we have the internet, we can finally agree on one language. And if you look at different cities, you might find different dialects. Dialects are just the beginning of a new language. But thanks to the internet, we now can go back to one language. So we don't have language barriers anymore. And here's some extra notes. The small L and big I look the same, which is bad. And hypo and hyper are opposites, yet sound the same. That's also not really so good. If you disagree with things I said, feel free to write it in the comments. I yet have to find proper reasons of why I should be wrong with what I said. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.